Are you looking for an extremely consistent, solidly built, lightweight and silent airsoft replica? Then look no further. This is the Wolverine MTW Forged series. Hey, welcome to Krale Airsoft. I have a special line of replicas in front of me, namely the MTW Forged series from Wolverine Airsoft. This series offers a powerful and consistent HPA engine with a sturdy hop-up chamber, forged upper and lower receiver, and many other interesting features that we will go through in this video. This series of airsoft replicas is based on the timeless design of the M4 and the AR-15 platform, which is a very popular and widely used platform within real firearms. As you may have already seen here, there are 3 different models within this series. Internally, these contain the same parts, but on the outside they are slightly different. For example, you have the standard model, which includes an Invictus M-Lock handguard, an Invictus MS2 steel flash hider, a standard pistol grip, and a standard stock. This model is available in 2 different barrel lengths, 10 inches and 14 inches. In addition to the standard model, there's also a tactical version, which contains slightly different externals. For example, the handguard has been swapped to a 10-inch Invictus quad reel, which contains 4 Picatinny reel segments, a robust mil-spec stock, a flat pistol grip with a sealing cap. This ensures that less dirt can get into the pistol grip. And finally, an Invictus MS1 steel flash hider. This model is only available in the 10-inch version. So those are a bit of the differences within this series. Let's grab a box and see what's inside. I have a Wolverine MTW Forged 10-inch standard here in front of me. Please note, what's inside the box at the time of recording may vary in the future, as manufacturers sometimes want to change things. As you can see, the box is nicely finished with the Wolverine and MTW series logo. Nothing crazy or anything that jumps out. The only thing you might notice is that the box is quite compact compared to other replicas. But this is for a good reason, which you will see in a moment. When we open the box, we find a foam cover that protects the replica from shipping damage. And the rest of the box is also filled with foam, which is cut out to provide a snug fit for all the loose parts. You will also find a bag containing a quick start guide, a QR code for the manual, extra O-rings and an MTW badge. But as said before, this content may vary. The quick start guide provides a clear summary of what you need to be able to use this replica. These are a 7.4 volt LiPo battery with a 250 to 505 mAh capacity. This needs a JST RCY connection to control the electronics in the replica. In addition, you need an HPA bottle or tank that is filled, a regulator with a 60 to 140 psi or 4 to 9.6 bar range. For example, this could be the Wolverine Storm regulator. Finally, an air hose to connect the HPA tank and regulator to the replica. The Wolverine MTW Forged has a Foster connection to connect this to. Then there's also a small bag in which there is a plastic set screw. If you have the tactical model, this also includes the base plate for the pistol grip. This plastic adjusting screw can be used to eliminate movement between the upper and lower receiver. Now that we've had the less interesting things, let's move on to the replica. You can now clearly see why the box is so compact. The upper and lower are separated so that there is less empty space inside the box, and every part is still well protected. Fortunately, assembling the replica is quite simple. It's a matter of feeding the air hose through the pistol grip and then clicking the upper and lower together with the body pins. Let's take a look at the internals first. To start with the lower receiver. Looking inside here, we see Wolverine's advanced electronics kit. These are the trigger board with the FCU connected to it, which together control the HPA engine. This FCU offers the possibility to customize the replica when it comes to functionalities. For example, it is possible to adjust the dwell. For people who have no experience with HPA, with this setting, the volume of air that is pushed through the inner barrel can be adjusted. This makes it possible to adjust this so that as little air as possible is lost after the BB has left the barrel. So the dwell actually determines how long the valve stays open. Often this comes down to the shorter the barrel, the shorter the dwell time. You can test this yourself to see which setting is best so that you can get the most out of the replica. In addition, thanks to this FCU, it is also possible to set the rate of fire, or how many BBs the replica shoots within a second during full auto or burst mode. Fortunately, clear diagrams for both the dwell and the rate of fire can be found on Wolverine's website, so that the setup becomes a bit more manageable. Finally, what can also be customized within this FCU is the firing modes. For example, it is possible to adjust the full auto mode to semi, full auto, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 7 round bursts, and finally a 2-second delay. The latter is required on some fields when a player wants to use their replica as a DMR. The trigger board features optical sensors to provide precise actuation, and the trigger has a tactile click when engaged. At the top of this trigger board we see 2 small springs. These ensure that the electronic circuit is completed when the upper and lower receiver are together, so that the HPA engine can be controlled. Then we move on to the upper. What kind of parts do we find here? To start with where we just ended, here are 2 screws with wiring. This is where the trigger board makes contact with the HPA engine and thus completes the electronic circuit. If we then move forward a little, we see the HPA engine. This is a Wolverine Inferno Gen 2 that is equipped with a filtered air hose and a different appearance than the separate HPA engine, to complement the look of this MTW Forged. This HPA engine works through a hybrid open bolt system, creating a pause in shooting. This hybrid system guarantees the advantages of an open bolt system, including easy adjustment, efficiency, and not having to dry fire first so that the first BB is loaded. The hybrid system adds, among other things, easy adjustment of the hop-up. This HPA engine offers extremely quiet operation, which, through the use of a suppressor, can result in an airsoft replica that barely makes a sound. Connected to this engine we find a CNC machined aluminium hop-up unit. This hop-up contains a large adjustment wheel that allows smooth adjustment with a large adjustment range. Installed on this hop-up is a brass precision inner barrel. To keep these parts firmly in place and to finish them off neatly, we find an aluminium insert on which the feed tube of the hop-up is also installed. What's a handy feature of this feed tube is the latching system, so that the BBs that are still in the hop-up remain there as soon as the magazine is removed from the replica. This avoids unnecessarily wasting BBs. If you no longer want to use these BBs, they can be easily released with the push of a button. Well, that was quite a bit of information, but with that we've had all the interesting internals. Then we can move on to the externals, of which there's a lot to talk about with the Wolverine MTW Forged series. Let's start at the front. As you can see, when the replica comes out of the box, it includes an orange flash hider as standard, but a steel flash hider is supplied with it. Depending on the model, this can either be an Invictus MS1 or an MS2 for the tactical or standard model respectively. The difference between these 2 steel flash hiders is really only in the appearance. Underneath the flash hider there is a 14mm counterclockwise thread. This makes it easy to mount a variety of other flash hiders or suppressors. For the model we currently have in front of us, the 10-inch standard, the handguard is a model that has several M-lock slots and a Picatinny rail on top. This rail contains a number of milled slots that considerably reduce the total weight of this part. On top of that, the handguard contains several markings of Wolverine on the sides and on the bottom, the Magpul M-lock logo, but also the manufacturer of the handguard, Invictus Manufacturing. As a little extra detail, this replica also includes a mock gas tube in the handguard to add some extra realism. On the tactical model, this handguard features multiple Picatinny rail segments instead of M-lock slots. To still offer a reduction in weight, there are also slots between these rail segments, just like at the top of the standard model, to reduce its weight. If we move further back, we end up at the receiver. As the name of this series suggests, it is made of forged aluminium. This process ensures that these upper and lower receivers have improved durability and hardness compared to cast aluminium, which significantly increases the quality of the replica. The lower receiver features an engraved MTW Forged logo, Wolverine markings, and engraved safe, semi and auto designations near the selector switch. The selector switch can be operated on both sides, making the replica easy to use for both right and left-handed shooters. The positions are clearly felt and click firmly into position. The trigger is CNC machined from aluminium and, as mentioned before, gives a clearly tangible click when pulled. Under the trigger is a polymer trigger guard, which can be easily removed and switched out for a different one that suits your liking. At the top of this replica, as we are used to with many M4 replicas, is a Picatinny rail on which, among other things, aiming devices can be mounted. If we then look at the other side of the receiver, we see that the unique serial number is engraved here. In addition, we also see the metal dust cover, which unfortunately cannot be closed. This is due to the size of the HPA engine. We also find the magazine release and the other side of the selector switch here. For the standard model, we then find a fairly standard pistol grip on this replica with a finger rest and texture to provide grip. On the tactical model, it is flat with texture, but may feel more comfortable for some players. At the bottom of this pistol grip, the air hose is situated that makes the connection to a regulator or HPA tank possible. At the end of the receiver, we find a QD sling mount connection. A QD sling mount can easily be clicked onto this, making it possible to mount a gun sling. In the buffer tube, we find the connection to the required battery and the FCU, as we have just seen. And then finally, we see the adjustable polymer stock. With the standard model, this is a standard M4 stock, but with the tactical model, this is a mil-spec stock. The magazine that is supplied with this replica is made of polymer and features the Wolverine logo. Internally, this magazine has a capacity of 120 BBs. These are supplied by a strong spring, which contains an orange follower at the end. This follower ensures that even the last BB can be fired. When the last BB has been fired, a plastic tip pushes out of the top of the magazine and causes the replica to stop firing. This way you quickly know when the magazine is empty. The metal bolt release located on the receiver provides the function in conjunction with the aforementioned empty mag system of the Wolverine mid-cap magazine. When reloading, the bolt release can be pressed to continue firing. If you've become interested in a Wolverine MTW Forged, you can of course always visit our store to see the replica in real life, hold it, or of course test it. If you can't wait, you can of course always order on our website. Do you already have a Wolverine MTW Forged? Let us know in the comments how you like the replica. We would love to hear about your experience. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. See you next time.